Everybody, it's me, LisaT, coming at you with some positive energy. So we're gonna do another day of one day my soul just opened up. This is good because it's not like a March 22nd. It's not like a date one, but it's a daily one. So you should do it for 40 days. But I've missed a few days, and that's okay. So where we left off, I think was like creativity or something like that. Willingness maybe. Created, yeah, it was creativity. Okay, so this one is day 7. Honor the divine within. Honor the divine with peacefulness, but also honor the divine within. So honor the divine with peacefulness. So working definition. The principle we are working with today is peace. Peace of mind, peace with the situation that's happening in front of you, peace with yourself. I think with peace comes acceptance, accepting this moment as it is, accepting yourself as you are right now, accepting the way life is unfolding and knowing that it's unfolding as it should. Gives us peace of mind. As soon as we're up in our head trying to figure it out and make a plan about how we're going to get what we want and how we're going to, do this, get this done and make them do as we say and make this thing happen. As soon as we get in our head about that, we don't have that stillness, that peace of mind. And when we can get still, when they say in God speaks in stillness, everything else is a bad interpretation. So I think God told me to do this. I think what I'm supposed to do, just get still. So much peace and stillness, right? So the principle we're working today with is peace. It is an internal state of harmony and tranquility derived from the awareness of peace. Oh, be aware. I like that. Be aware that there's peace. There's peace for you to have. There's peace in this moment. Get aware of the peace inside of you. It's derived. So this tranquility, this peace, this internal state is derived from the awareness of peace. Thought, word, and deed produced in response to a desire to create, promote, or maintain a state of peace. So peace is a thought, word, or deed produced in response to a desire to create, promote, or maintain a state of peace. Deed produced in response to a desire. So I want peace. So I'm going to say something peaceful. I want peace. So I'm going to do an action that creates peace. Do a deed that creates peace. We're doing that. I'm saying this word in a response for my desire to have peace. I'm saying this thing through my desire to have peace. I'm doing this action through my desire to have peace, I think is what it's saying there. So commentary on peacefulness. My friend Joya told me a story about a woman with some birds that gave me great insight on peacefulness. She heard the story from her guru, Swami something, Gururami or something, whatever, widely known as Guru Mai or something, a teacher of the Siddha yoga tradition. One day, a woman went to the park to meditate. She found a quiet, sunny place, spread her blanket, and sat down. She closed her eyes, breathed deeply, and was prepared to begin an inward exploration of her thoughts and feelings. And you can't have a feeling until you have a thought. Every feeling, our thought precedes every feeling. So look at your thoughts, look at your feelings. What am I doing right now? What am I thinking right now? What am I feeling right now? So if you can look at what you're thinking and what you're doing, then you might equate, well, no wonder I feel this way, right? So this girl went to the wood, to this spot and laid down her blanket, and she was going to do an exploration of her thoughts and feelings. As her breathing became regulated and her mind became still, she became aware of some birds chirping near her. At first, it was a melodic and peaceful addition to her inward journey. Within moments, however, the birds began to squawk, almost scream at each other. As the woman tried to stay focused on her breathing, the birds seemed to squawk louder and louder. How can I have any peace? I can just imagine where this is going. How can I have any peace with all that squawking? We need to get to a spot where we can have peace no matter what is going on. We just become aware of the show that's happening in front of us, aware of how everything's playing out, and have peace within no matter what. That is an ultimate goal. So the woman's eyes flew open. There are at least 20 birds sitting around her, screeching at each other. And the trick, the joke is, when you're trying to instill peace within yourself, the universe is going to give you moments to practice having peace no matter what. If you're trying to, instill patience in yourself, you're going to get an extra long lineup. You're going to get a traffic jam. You're going to get these moments that cause you to invoke your peace no matter what, or your patience no matter what. So So her eyes flew open and these birds are squawking everywhere, and she looked around. The rest of the park was empty. So she's sitting in this park, this big, huge park, and just where she decides to meditate, all these birds decide to flock and squawk. So half-heartedly, with a flinging gesture of her hands, the woman shooed the birds away. Some left, some remained. Those who remained became very quiet until she closed her eyes. So they'd be quiet, and then she would close her eyes, and then they would start squawking. It seemed as if the second she closed her eyes, the birds started screeching again. Quite annoyed, the woman got up and moved. The birds flew away. Upon finding another prime spot of grass, the woman sat down to begin the process all over again. As soon as she did, the birds came back. "This is ridiculous," the woman said to the bird. "Shoo, shoo, get on, get out of here." The birds flew a little higher, but in the seeming act of defiance, they continued to squawk. Totally pissed off with the birds for disturbing her peace, the woman stood up and began to chase the birds. She's got no peace. Now she's chasing them through the park. She began to chase the birds. Where am I? She would run to the left and then fling her blanket at them. The birds would fly away, but they wouldn't shut up. As soon as she cleared those on the left, a new crew arrived on the right. Changing direction, she would shoo them away. They would circle her, squawking, and swoop down a few feet. Within moments, the woman was flinging her arms all around like a lunatic, screaming at the birds who were squawking back at her, realizing how crazy she must have looked. She snatched her blanket from the ground and stormed out of the park. So much for trying to get peace, right? Like, this is what's... Later that evening, the woman had an opportunity to relate her experience to the park to her guru, her teacher. Her exasperation returned even in the midst of telling the story. The guru smiled and asked, "Why did you not welcome them to join you?" "How was I supposed to do that?" she asked. "Oh, Namah Shiva," the guru responded, which means I surrender. "Oh, Om Namah Shiva," the guru responded, which means I surrender to the Shiva, meaning the God within me. That's making me cry a little bit. I surrender to the God within me. Have peace. There is some higher power. There's a God within you. You are part of that. You are a thought of God. And there's a peace that you can instill in every moment of your life. If we can just not let the distractions of the world and the actors of the world and the dramas of the world become, so we don't become entrenched in all those things. Just Om Namah Shiva. I had a client today that was like tested mine. That there was zero, like the communication was zero. I was saying something and he was not answering, and he was saying something to me and I was like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. And for 20 minutes this went back and forth where there was such a lack of communication that I could feel my eyes like getting red and my face getting red, and I actually had to leave the room to talk to my owner of my clinic because I was like, I can't. I'm hitting a block here. I can't communicate with this client. And then in that moment, I also went back into my body. So when I re-entered the room with him, I got back into my body and I breathed. And I said, I'm going to be an instrument in this moment and just, try to be as best of service as I can to this person. And sure enough, so then we started treatment. And by the end of the treatment, his system had calmed down. He was able to listen and hear and respond properly. And it was a whole game changer. But I got in my center. And I knew in that moment, don't let this thing frazzle you. If I get frazzled, I'm no help to anybody. So I got centered and I was able to be helpful. I wish I would have had this in my head, but I will next time. Om Namah Shiva. So I surrender to the God within me is what that means. A few days later, the woman went back to the park. She went through the entire process again. The moment she became still, the birds began to sing. As soon as she heard them, she mentally affirmed, Om Namah Shiva. The birds began to squawk, Om Namah Shiva. It began to sound as if every bird in the street had converged to the very spot where she was sitting. She never opened her eyes. She continued to breathe deeply, affirming louder and louder in her mind, Om Namah Shiva, Om Namah Shiva, Om Namah Shiva. She thought the words faster and louder, so fast and loud, in fact, that she became so mentally exhilarated that she stopped. It was then that she noticed the silence. Either the birds had flown away or simply shut up. She did not open her eyes to determine which had occurred. Why is it that when we walk into a room of screaming children and yell at the top of our lungs, be quiet? Why is it that we do that? Be quiet! If you want peace, be peace. If you want peace, be it. My grandmother, Ula, age 5, is afflicted with my grandson, Uli, Ulwa, age 5, is afflicted with a common childhood ailment. He cannot speak below 100 decibels. He yells as if he secretly believes that Everyone in the room is hard of hearing. One day, someone in the family, due to threats of being sued for slander, I cannot reveal who, became so frustrated with him that they yelled, "Will you please be quiet?" Other people present in the room chimed in by screaming, "Thank you!" His silence lasted for about 3 minutes. His next comment was made at the usual ear-piercing level. "If you want peace, be peaceful. Because I am the wise old granny, I have learned to take a completely different approach. When Ulua screamed at me, I crouched down to his level, put my nose directly up against his nose, smiled, and whispered, 'I can't hear you. You are talking too loud.'" He didn't get it at first, but I would stay there staring at him eyeball to eyeball until he lowered his voice. Now when Ulua approaches me, he usually whispers so softly I must ask him to repeat himself. He and everyone else in the family still seem to have a problem hearing one another. I watch them and I smile. If you want to experience peacefulness, you must begin from a posture of peace. One word of caution: be prepared to stay in that posture for as long as it takes. Do it until. I like to say, we're going to do this until. We're going to do it until we get it. So, that's your reading for today. And then some of the affirmations you can say are: I am peacefully expressing myself as peacefulness. I am peacefully expressing myself as peacefulness. Nothing can disturb this expansion of peacefulness. Nothing can disturb this expansion of peacefulness. Peace is the order of this day. Peace is the order of this day. As I am, so it is. For this, I am so grateful. Let me remember to have peace. I must be peaceful. I can choose peace in all situations. Nothing in my world can disturb the peace I create within. I welcome others to join me in this peace. I welcome you to join me in this peace. Om Namah Shiva. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed.